So you went from 60K a year essentially as a high ticket closer to a $75,000 base plus OTE potential that will bring you up to 120 in your first year in SaaS, fully remote. Fully remote.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
I love it.
Yeah, pretty simple. Not that. Yeah.
Pretty simple. So, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Trying to tackle it alone or without your guys' support, I would not have kind of landed this role. I would not be confident that I could do it. And I feel like it's transcended my ability to understand how the whole process works. So now I feel confident that, I mean, you guys got me the role. You guys taught me how to do the interview process. You guys did the work on the back end, the coaching calls, everything. Like, yeah, I would truly recommend it.
So let's dive into it. So first of all, welcome, Hanish. It's good to have you here today. Glad you can make some time for us. Before we dive in, like, why don't you just give anybody who's watching, like, who is Hanish? Like, where are you from and what do you do?
Yeah, for sure. So currently, I'm a high ticket closer. Been working on an offer in real estate. I was a real estate agent for about 5 years, and essentially what I was looking to do was become location independent. Really not have to stay in the same area, and that's why I decided to get into something a little bit more remote, something in my sort of realm or industry. And then of course I came across high ticket closing and people making a lot of money doing it, all commission based, all sales hungry people and whatnot. So I decided that might align with me, and I did it pretty well for a little bit, and then I decided there are some inconsistencies with the business and whatnot. So that's where I knew I needed to kind of make a change and pursue something a little bit different. But that's kind of where I'm coming from into this realm and what I'm looking for, what I was trying to attain, right? So.
Okay, gotcha. And okay, so high ticket closer. And did we know each other beforehand?
No, not at all. No, did not know it. But I came across your content and saw the social credibility around who you were, what the team was like. I had a couple conversations before joining up. I looked at the material beforehand. I dived pretty deep into it. Took me a little bit of, I was also traveling at the time, so it took me about a month and a half to kind of say, yes, I'm all in. And I was pretty happy that I did, because it shortened a learning curve for me that I did not have in terms of trying to get roles that I've, never applied for or never thought there was the possibility to get.
Gotcha. So you mentioned as a high ticket closer that you were having inconsistencies with like the business and stuff. Are you talking like more financially, or what do you mean exactly?
I would say all around, to be honest. I know there's some companies or high ticket companies that have a little bit more consistency in terms of like the workload. But I felt with my company, it was an inconsistent workload. It was inconsistent on the financials. 1 month would be really good. 1 month would be really bad. How do I plan ahead? How do I, ultimately, how do I plan? And it was just becoming to the point where I was kind of like, this is a little bit more stressful than I was looking for. Even though there are nice successes, it's just, I value my mental peace a little bit more. And I need to find something that, aligns with my career and just being, mentally at peace with a role that I can see growing exponentially, which I didn't really have that in high ticket closing or specifically this offer. So, yeah.
Gotcha. And what was the reason then? I mean, okay, the inconsistency and stuff like that, but what was the reason that you chose to go into like remote corporate sales?
Yeah, the reason I decided to go into it, because I figured there's going to be a higher backbone or structure to a company that I'm going to be joining, and the skill sets that I was learning with the high ticket closing. I was doing a lot of demo calls, a lot of face-to-face conversations, and really only getting paid on, closed deal. I feel that with a corporate structure, you're going to be valued a little bit more than just only closed transactions. Being able to say, hey, you know what, at least I got a base, at least I'm getting certain income, and the time that I'm putting into my job, I'm actually getting paid for, and not having to stress about it. So that was one component, having the ability to say, hey, you know what, I'm working, I should get something for it. Of course, if I'm better at it, I want to get commission or higher commissions. And then the opportunity to kind of grow and potentially see if you can work your way up to like a VP of sales, a director of sales, or wherever that might take you. You're just going to have a lot more opportunity in the corporate sector. I was always negative towards the corporate sector growing up, or I'd say like post-university, because I didn't want to get stuck in the 9 to 5, and I didn't want to have to go to the office, or I didn't want to have my life sort of being controlled. But I feel like this is the medium balance where you can have a remote job, be able to work from home, have the flexibility with whatever you want to do in your personal time. For me, I like to play a lot of golf, like to do things personally. Still single. I'm sure some people are, got kids, family and whatnot. So having that flexibility of having a role that you can have continuous growth at, but also being able to spend the time with the family or do whatever else you need on the back end, I think, what I want and what I'm sure a lot of people want too. So.
So you want to have that like stability in terms of like a high base salary, but also have that, I guess, that remote aspect that you're used to, right? Whilst building a career, for the future.
Yeah, of course. Building a career, having, the flexibility to do the other things that you want to do, but then also having that mental peace and stable sort of income and not feel pressured every single day to wake up and make a sales sort of thing. So I think that's where you're going to assess the things that matter or prioritize what's important to you. A lot of the check boxes were ticked.
Perfect. But we love to take check boxes.
Yeah, of course.
So can you just, like, before we dive in, because I want to get into like your offer and stuff like that, but before we dive in, because we spoke about sort of inconsistent income, always having to waking up not knowing where the next commission's coming from. What were you making on average as a high ticket closer? Are you comfortable sharing that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in terms of, some months I'd be making like 8 to 9K. Some months I'd be making like 1 to 2K. Some months nothing. So like on an average month, 3 to 4K. And I joined with the intention of trying to get to 10 to 12 to 15K. And the time, I mean, irrespective, what you make really should come down to how many hours you put in. And I feel, if I was making that type of money, spending 10, 12 hours a week, fine. But I was just spending way too much time on these calls, not really getting the value for the time that I was putting in. So I feel I was undervalued in that sense. But ultimately that's currently where I was financially. And that's why I knew I needed to get something a little bit more lucrative, but also a little bit more valuable, or something that sees my value, I guess.
It's interesting, right? Because it could be nerve-wracking for somebody to transition out of like a commission-only cycle, which they're used to, right, into a corporate structure where it's like, oh, I don't necessarily have corporate experience or whatnot. Did you have corporate sales experience prior to signing the offer?
No, not at all. I mean, I worked for a company, but I did like outside sales, like going institution to institution. It was like a starter job right out of the gate. And then after that, I was, a real estate agent for 5 years. And then the role that I'm in now, like everything that I've done, pretty much I'd consider like my advanced level of my career has all been commission driven. And it's always been working for myself. And it's always been, not with the corporate structure in place. I never really signed offers or understood the interview process because I never really went through that. I think part of me just didn't want to or didn't know how to. But yeah, I mean, that's why I went into commission type sales. And I was like, I'm going to get out what I put in, but it didn't really work out that way. I mean, it did at times, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But were you nervous about joining us, like James University? Was that nerve-wracking to you?
I think every sort of decision becomes nerve-wracking when you're trying to join up with a company that you don't really know. But that's why I did my due diligence. I spent my time in doing my research, tried to tackle it alone, and knew it was a bigger task than I could sort of manage, or the small nuances or the small details that I wasn't, equipped to. And then, I mean, of course I was nervous, but then I was pretty happy once I got into the program, made the jump. And usually that's how it goes when you're a little bit nervous and then you take the leap of faith. 9 times out of 10, you've made the right decision, or you've at least committed to yourself and committed to what you're trying to achieve. So.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. And okay, after you joined, like, can you just walk me through maybe, or anyone who's watching, what was your experience like when you joined the mastermind?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in terms of a couple things, first off, the support is really good because you have yourself when it comes to more corporate terminology or corporate coaching or corporate trying to understand the actual roles and prepare for interviews and actually prepare for the work needed. And then on the back end, you have a bunch of people who are communicating with you. You have your direct channel. You're seeing all the wins from all the other people who are getting their interviews, which gives you a little bit of motivation sometimes when you're not getting the interviews. But just the support on the back end for letting you know when you do have interviews, when what to do for those interviews, how to prep for them. Yeah, I mean, the support on the back end to be able to derive the interviews for you, keep the motivation up, and then your support on the back end whenever I was feeling down, which happened a couple of times, of course. Was able to kind of shift my perspective and get me kind of back on track. And it's not always a smooth sailing, but the support of the team is what's key and what holds you together here.
All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, the job market is a very emotional. It's an emotional place, right? And you did a really great job. Like, you went through multiple rounds with multiple companies and like to final rounds. And there are some times, and people experience this all the time too, right? Where, essentially it just didn't work out, and that could be devastating at times with all the work, right? But that's kind of the point, because we just need to keep going, right? And the next interview is the important one, the next interview. And I mean, I looked at your stats, and you had 16 interviews in about 2.5 months on the market. Yeah. Did the executive team land you the interview for the role that you signed?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, like what they're able to, like the whole process and organization on the back end and being able to attain those interviews is not just a simple apply and, hope for somebody to respond. There's a lot more that went into it. Again, like I've never done this personally for myself. So it was really cool to see what that process looked like and why it's different to just, or why the response rates are higher than, just doing it yourself. So it was really cool to kind of, obviously I'm in this program for this sort of time frame, but a couple of years down the road, if I'm looking for a new job or whatnot, I have a better understanding of how to do it myself. It's never going to be as good as what you guys did, but the response rates were definitely higher than anything I would have done. And also the work that went into actually making those applications or communications go out was not something that I would have probably done myself. So it was a consistent, it was a consistent outflow, it was a consistent drip. It was a consistent, process that worked really well, which that's where I saw the value in the fact that it was going to be hard for me to do something like that, or be consistent enough, or be able to follow up, or be able to stay on top of everything. And that's really what I saw the value.
Yeah, love that. You mentioned a couple of times consistency, right? That's like the key word, because when you're in the job market, it's very emotional, like we discussed, right? We have these highs and lows. Yeah. Many people stop due to that. Like they get one negative reply or they don't hear back, and then they stop. Yeah. Whereas if you have that consistency, that team in the background essentially pushing you forward no matter what, there is always going to be another interview. There is always going to be another chance. And that's the game changer of why people get offers and why they don't. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the ability to have the team to keep kind of pushing forward, the amount of, what would I call it? The amount of downs or the amount of rejections I had, or the amount of, I had a couple interviews that went 6-7 rounds that I got rejected, and I was like, maybe this isn't for me. This is brutal. Like, this is tough to handle. Then obviously we had calls together and you kind of put me on track. And obviously I knew I was in a down moment. I knew I kind of had to pick myself up, but it was just nice to have you shift the perspective, kind of push me forward. And then, kept getting more interviews and then obviously landed the role that I wanted, and, never really kind of expected it to come about that way. So
I love that, man. So let's talk about the exciting part, right? Which is the offer. Now, we don't need to disclose your company. We don't do any of that kind of stuff. So you were, prior to coming in, you were making $3,000 to $4,000 on average with high ticket closing. What does your offer look like now?
Yeah, so the offer looks like it's basically a base salary that's going to be probably 60 to 70% of what I'd make, which is about 75K. It was actually 70 and I negotiated up, which was nice. And then the OTE is going to be anywhere from about 100 to 120, which is fantastic for the type of role and the duties that I'll be responsible for and alignment to my lifestyle. There was a couple other roles that I had, I mentioned I lost out on that were going to be anywhere from 150 to 200. And I was prepared to do them, but then I realized that they weren't really going to align with my lifestyle. So the role I have is a great base, a good commission structure at 6 figures. It aligns with my lifestyle, it aligns with what I want to do. So I'm pretty happy overall that those other ones didn't work out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, gotcha. That's so cool, man. And is it remote?
Yeah, 100% remote. And they're sending me equipment for a home office, which is great. Laptop monitors, all the sort of fun stuff. Great people in the organization. Fully remote. Maybe meeting with the team maybe once every couple months, but I can kind of exactly. So it's perfect kind of work from home, be flexible enough. And, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah. And what industry is it in?
So it's in the software sales industry, selling to gyms, Pilates studios, those sorts of boutique workout, fitness or studios or arenas or whatnot, being able to sell them the software that schedules, accepts payments, books classes, meetings, scheduling, everything on the back end. So that's what they do, and they're one of the top leading people in that industry. So I think it's a good industry that I know. I like talking to people about that sort of stuff, but then also it's software sales at its core.
Yeah. So so you went from 60K a year essentially as a high ticket closer to a $75,000 base plus OTE potential that will bring you up to 120 in your first year in SaaS, fully remote.
Correct.
I love it.
Yeah, pretty simple. Not that.
Pretty simple. So, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't a simple road for me. I don't think anybody can kind of jump in and expect it to happen on week one. I mean, it could, but I think that's the whole. I mean, especially the job market that we're in now. It's like you trying to run this alone is very difficult, and you have to kind of know yourself personally, who you are, how you deal with downs and low turns and rejection. If you're the type of person that that kind of hinders you or it kind of sets you back, you're going to need a little bit of support. I mean, I think that was the biggest thing for me, is just being able to, we probably interviewed for about 2.5, 3 months. I didn't know if it was going to happen on week 1, week 2, week 3. But I was just understanding that it kind of takes time sometimes, and that you have to keep putting the work, the interview prep, and learning the terminology in sales. And I think actually where I transcended was when I joined a lot more of the calls, because I was understanding terminologies like quota attainments, run rates, opportunities created. Now sounding confident and smart in the calls. And then I think that's ultimately where I think the shift in my pattern of the interviews went. So,
I love that. Yeah, because we always kind of stay where we're comfortable, right? If you're in commission only, you're going to stay in there. And to break out, you're right. It's not an easy task. Like, yes, of course, with momentum, with support, everything, it's easier, but it takes some time, right? Because if you want to break out of something and do something meaningful, it's always going to take time. So I loved your mindset about that from the beginning. I mean, 2.5, 3 months is quick in general. You put a lot of work into a lot of rounds. But I love to see this outcome for you, man. And we're just really happy. Like, this for me is always the best part, of sitting down with you and talking about it. Would you recommend us to your friends or family or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if somebody is struggling to find a job, or they are struggling to understand how to get interviews or how to do interviews, or the terminology, or how to actually perform well in these specific corporate type of roles, I would absolutely recommend it, because yeah, trying to tackle it alone or without your guys' support, I would not have kind of landed this role. I would not be confident that I could do it. And I feel like it's transcended my ability to understand how the whole process works. So now I feel confident that, I mean, you guys got me the role. You guys taught me how to do the interview process. You guys did the work on the back end, the coaching calls, everything. Like, yeah, I would truly recommend it for all the reasons that stated.
Love it, man. Love it. So final question, and I'll let you go because I know you're traveling, doing some traveling before you start. When are you starting next week?
Yeah, next week, 5 days. Yeah.
All right. Amazing. So you enjoy those 5 days. That's always the best. Are you happy with like how everything worked out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Very, very happy. And, all the communication, all the support with you, the team, the back end, how everything's structured, how everything's organized. Very, very sort of happy with the whole structure and being on top of everything, and getting the interviews, which is the part that at the end of the day, that's what somebody who's coming into this program is ideally looking for. But once you get the interview, can you actually move past the second round? Can you actually get the offer? And I think that's where the value's on the front end, but it's also on the back end too. Mm-hmm. So I'm very happy with getting the interviews and then being able to succeed at them.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there's a weight that's been lifted at all in terms that you have this solid base?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like this is what I've been looking for like last 3, 4, 5 months, and now I finally kind of feel a big weight lifted off my shoulders. A lot of mental. Obviously, let's see how the road goes, but a lot of mental peace, just having that base and knowing what I'm going to make, and having that stability, and then seeing where I can grow from internally within the company. But yeah, ultimately, a huge weight off my shoulders for sure. Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, I'm glad. But thanks so much again for sitting down with us, Hanish. I really appreciate it. And we wish you, obviously, well, I'm the only one here, but us as a team, we wish you all the best at the new role. You're always welcome at James University. And if you have any issues with onboarding or questions, like, we'll keep everything open and make sure that you're successful. Yeah.
Amazing. Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Corey. Appreciate it.
For sure.